How's it going, everybody? Magnum Knights here, and we're bringing you yet another Total War Warhammer 2 replay. Alright, in this replay we have the brave Dawi forces, or the dwarves, as it's known to men, versus the marauding hordes of chaos. For the Dawi front line, I've tried a different type of formation here. With this formation, I tried to layer up the blasting charges, or the grenades, as it were. So we have a front line of the Longbeards with great weapons. Chaos is known for its heavy armor, so I wanted to bring along a armor-piercing component to my army, just to try and whittle down the Chaos troops. In behind those, we have the Miners with blasting charges. Now, these guys' job was to just pitch grenades over the tops of the head of the Longbeards to disrupt the Chaos charge, deal some damage, but these Miners also have a little bit of armor piercing to their weapons. So it's kind of important that those pickaxes actually are good against armor. We have our Dwarf Lord over here in all his splendor, and I've given him the special item of the Starplate Mail. And with that, all the enemy units around him receive a -9 to melee attack. I've backed him up with the King Lewin Ironhammer, an Ethereal Thane. Now, the Ethereal units have much lower HP pools. You can see that there on the left-hand side. He's only got about 2,000 HP, but since he's Ethereal, it means that normal weapons do only 20% of their normal damage to him. So that's why they get much lower HP pools. If they had a standard HP pool, they would be literally unkillable for a normal anything. But anything that does magic damage is a big problem for Ethereal units, which is something you need to watch out for. So this is my front line. I'm going to be trying the grenade and the bait and switch. Over here on the wing, I have got 3 units of Iron Breakers. These guys are the tankiest of the tanks for the dwarfs, aside from, literal tanks. With their 125 armor, 68 melee defense, these guys can hold the line like nobody's business. Now, I've placed them out here on the edge just to expand out the line a little bit and to give me some flexibility to defend my true killing power. I've got 1 artillery piece, a grudge thrower, as well as 2 thunderers. These guys are great for gunning down Chaos Infantry. Chaos Infantry is notoriously slow and heavily armored. However, all the armor in the world does not help against Gunpowder, the great equalizer. And in the back, to protect our artillery and our guns, we've got a unit of Slayer. The dwarves that have taken off their armor and have given themselves up for death. These guys have sworn the Slayer Oath to kill and kill and kill everything and anything, large and small, until the day they die in glorious combat. Now, over here, we've got the Warriors of Chaos. Out front, we have the Chaos Feral Manticore. Is just a standard flying unit. It could cause terror in the back lines. Dwarves have pretty good leadership, so we're not going to be expecting a whole lot of terror routing. Over here, we have a unit of Chaos Knights, just the normal sorted board variant. Still more in the air, we have a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Death. Now, death magic is especially effective in most multiplayer games because it can single target down your lord, or it's very good at killing out formations of units. That being said, the dwarves themselves have a 25% magic resist. However, dwarves themselves cannot use magic, so they are at a complete disadvantage when it comes to a battle of mages, until they could get close and get an axe on the little wazard. My opponent's front line is a checkerboarded Chaos Marauders, just, looking for that cheap front line to take the shots to protect his more valuable units. He's got Chaos Trolls in behind his Marauders. These are going to be his armor-piercing punch to try and break through the Dwarven Great Plate Mail. He's got Exalted Heroes on the ground as well. He's got the Walking type, just so they're harder targets for my guns. and he's intermixed them with Chaos Marauders with great weapons, just to kind of shield them out from any gunplay or charges. The Chaos Marauders will be taking the hit, leaving his heroes to do the work. And in the back, he's got another unit of Chaos Marauders with great weapons. So without further ado, let's get the battle underway. Now here, my opponent and I are sizing each other up. He's brought his Chaos Manticore forward to try and just scout out if I have any hidden units. We're just going to fast forward the posturing part of the battle here. As he scouts around, he's looking for if I have any rangers. So I bring my guns around to try and get a shot at this Manticore that's just flapping around. And I leave them stationary to make sure that they could get shots should things come in. Now he's brought his Sorcerer Lord in. And he's cast the Fate of Buna upon these Ironbreakers. So you can see that their HP has dipped quite a bit. That was about 40% damage to that unit of Ironbreakers. And Ironbreakers are expensive, so taking 40% damage on them is actually a really hard hit. However, the Fate of Buna is a very expensive spell, so you can see he's brought his Manticore and his Spellcaster out of my gun range. He starts bringing his main force forward. Now, since I have an artillery piece, that means I have the ranged advantage, which gives me the right, basically, air quotes right, to dictate how this battle will play out. You can see the very edge of my artillery range here on this line. And he's just camping just outside of my artillery range. So, I inch my catapults forward, and he then says, okay, you know what? If you're just going to sit in your box, little dwarf, I'm going to come for you. Chaos has come! The forces of chaos begin to march across the frozen wastes, and thus starts the bombing of the Grudge Thrower. Now, you can see these marauders raising their shields. Unfortunately, all the shields in the world aren't going to stop giant rocks from raining on your face. Now, I told my catapults to start picking better targets. However, I didn't have any better targets, really. He's brought an all-marauder army with these Chaos Trolls. So I didn't really have an expensive unit to try and target out with the artillery. Over here, you can see that he's got his Sorcerer Lord and Manticore coming in. He's got his Manticores attacking my gun line right now, which is a fair play. I wasn't going to bring this unit of miners into it. Now, he's attacked by Ironbreakers with his Feral Manticore. That doesn't matter. The Slayers move to engage the Manticore, which does get stunned by the blasting charges, but does manage to make it back into the air before the Slayers can reach him. The Sorcerer Lord begins to parade in front of my guns, which is a very bad spot for him. As you can see, this unit of Thunder is still opening up into him. You can see here he's lost about 10% of his health. Maybe even 20% of his health. Again, the Feral Manticore comes into these Thunderers, but Thunderers actually have decent armor, very heavy armor themselves for a ranged unit. They have 80 armor and shields. Manticore tries to get into my artillery piece, but here you can see the grenades going off. Now, trolls are weak to fire because they have regeneration, and blasting charges do fire damage. But you can just see Chaos Warriors being melted everywhere. These Marauders are already put to rout before they even hit combat for an extended period of time. But now it comes to the Longbeards to try and hold the line. My opponent did throw me a loop by not bringing any heavy armored Chaos Warriors and only Marauders, so my Great Axes aren't going to be as effective as, say, the Sword and Shield variant of Dwarf Warriors. But as you can see, the blasting charges keep raining in and setting the Chaos Marauders to rout. They want no part of these blasting charges. Back here you can see that this Feral Manticore has gone berserk and has been caught by the Slayers. With 46 HP left, this Manticore isn't going to be coming back to the battle anytime soon, and is caught by the Slayers and slain. Over here you can see that these guns have opened up into the side of these trolls and set them to rout as well. Over here, you can see that my Dwarf Lord has engaged this Exalted Hero in honorable duel combat. Looking forward to that. And this Exalted Hero is not looking too good in this duel. He has lost a lot of his health, and now he's taken off. He wants no part of this Ethereal Lord and his Longbeard backup. Up here we have the Chaos Marauders taking on these Dwarf Warriors. However, these Marauders are losing that battle pretty hard. Back here you can see that the Chaos Sorcerer Lord has been caught. He's tried to come into my gun line here, and he's doing a fair amount of damage, but he has lost so much health flapping about and getting gunned down by the gun line, which is why he's probably had enough of them. But over here you can see that these guns have wheeled, and they're now going to lay into the Sorcerer Lord. And he's had enough of this fight. He wants out. 96 HP, he wants out. My formation here on the right flank next to the mountain seems to have collapsed. I've only got a few Longbeards remaining with limited health and a unit of miners with blasting charges, which is not enough. However, with the Sorcerer Lord gone from disrupting these guns, they're now taking back control and starting into the killing fields. Over here on the left flank, you can see that Chaos Warriors are coming back into the fray and coming into these Iron Breakers. These Iron Breakers have held and held and held and held against trolls, against Chaos Marauders, coming in from all angles. But again, the guns are where the dwarves truly shine. Over here we have a unit of Iron Breakers that are just standing pretty. I should have activated them and had them do more. Over here I have my Dwarf Lord on his own, chasing off the remainder of the Chaos Army. They want no part of this. We have some miners with blasting charges chasing off these Marauders here, and these Chaos Trolls are out of here as well. Over here the guns have opened up, and they're starting to kill everything. And with that, the enemy has gone into full rout due to the power of the Dwarven guns. Kazook! Gunpowder and technology win the day over demonic corruption. This is Magnum saying, thanks for watching everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Laters!